people, back at it again. The world is burning. Another episode. Today we're looking at layoffs. Big shout out to everyone. We're on 74 subscribers now, which is wild. Thanks, guys, and happy Christmas. That was a nice Christmas present to me. Yeah, this if you're new to this channel, welcome. We're just looking at economic issues. I'm trying to document them all. The ones that happened in 2023 was the ones that are going to be coming in 2024, 2025. Today we're talking about layoffs. Layoffs. This is new news. Came out on Christmas Day. Nike are gonna cut hundreds of jobs in December. They're gonna spend over 400 million in severance. So even Nike can't save here. This is a new news report as well. Even Pizza Hut, as they get going up to this $20 minimum age, they're gonna start laying off delivery drivers. But the real story of 2023 was the tech layoffs. Amazon 27,000, Accenture 19, Alphabet, Google 12,000 plus. Vodafone 11,000. So there's just all these thousands of tech jobs that have been cut in 2023. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure it's going to be going ahead in 2024 as well. We're already seeing the rumblings. If you Google it and start looking at some of the reports, companies are already letting people know that it's coming. So yeah, let's usual format. I haven't seen any of these videos, guys. We're going to look at what's going on in TikTok world in regards to the layoffs.
Just got laid off about 2 hours ago. I think I'm still shocked. Like, I just can't believe that it happened. There were absolutely no signs from the company that it was gonna happen. 9:30, I got a Teams message from my boss asking if I was free, which definitely was kind of weird, but I thought that he wanted to talk about something that we had discussed yesterday. So I was like, yeah, of course I'm free. What's up? And then they dialed me into a video call where my boss was sitting in the office in a conference room with this lady from legal. And they just basically told me I was being let go. And it was super formal, super sterile, which, like, this is why I always say, like, don't give your everything to a company, because when it comes to laying people off, they just fire you like that. I was like,
Yeah, just gonna pause this here, guys. What she's saying, this is the story that you hear from everybody. You don't know it's coming. I've been in a round of redundancies before, back in the day. You never know it's coming. It comes out of nowhere. It's a very sterile, quick thing. The meetings are usually quick. They lay out everything. They say goodbye. You go get your stuff and you leave. So yeah, it's really hard to predict if it's coming. And don't expect them to be all nicey nicey with you. It's very, very formal.
pretty shocked, and I kind of got teary-eyed, like borderline was gonna start crying, and I like held it together, and I basically told myself, like, this is my last time where I'm gonna see my boss and be able to ask him any questions and get closure. So I was like, no, I need to like ask him any questions I have. So I basically asked, like, is this a performance thing? Like, was this, I was doing international marketing for them, like, is international just drying up and that's not going to be a priority anymore? And he basically gave some vague answer, which was like, no, this is like overall the entire company, we're doing layoffs, so you're just one of many. Then they dialed.
Yeah, and don't necessarily think if you're getting laid off it's a performance thing or it's a you thing. During the pandemic and all that really cheap credit, these companies got really, really big and they were extending themselves. A lot of them were over leveraged, and now they're sort of coming back to reality and they're going to have to downsize. So it's not necessarily a performance thing like you're not good at your job. I mean, that could be the case. And I'm sure on some level you would know that if you actually weren't good at the job. But yeah, a lot of it is they just need to downsize because they've just overextended themselves.
HR in, so HR started going over my severance package, and then they passed me to IT, where like he wiped my computer and had me wipe my phone. Like, the whole process was like 30 minutes, and basically I just started calling my family and texting some of my coworkers, and then I guess I found out that like our entire marketing team, like there were, I think, like 35, 40 people. Like, I think there's only like 10 people left. And company wide, I think they got rid of 20%. But yeah, I've just been sitting here basically for the past like 3 hours processing, talking to people. You guys have any tips? Like, what should I be doing? Do I sign up for unemployment? Please let me know. This is the first time in my career that this has happened, so this is all super new to me. Definitely be sharing more with
Yeah, look at this comment here. They took 30 minutes. It took them 10 minutes max for me. From getting into the room to being escorted out through the doors, the doctors didn't even look at my eyes. Yeah, it can be very, very cold when it happens, and expect an escort. A lot of places will do that. This one as well, Average Josie. Company, we are a family. Yeah, joke.
Layoffs are currently happening across the country, and there's three main reasons why companies decide to lay off staff. My name is Craig Levy, and I'm an employment law attorney. The first reason is the one we see the most, which is the company underperformed this year. Whether the company performed well or sales were down for some other reason, perhaps the economy, when a company has done poorly financially, they cut costs, and that includes layoffs. Second, believe it or not, many companies and industries are still rebounding from COVID. Sectors like the airline industry and many others slashed their workforce during COVID, only to rehire thousands and thousands of people in 2021 and 2022. And they're still trying to figure out how many employees they need, which results in layoffs. And third, companies are making drastic changes for next year. It doesn't necessarily mean they had a bad year financially, but they've decided to pivot and make changes. This could be sending jobs overseas, deciding to incorporate AI, or just changing their business model. Layoffs are currently happening.
Yeah, guys, there's multiple reasons it happens. I think most of it these days is these tech companies are getting a bit too big. The big layoffs we're seeing right now are in these tech industries. And the issue is, these are all big six-figure jobs. These people probably have had lifestyle creep, so their monthly expenses have gone all the way up because they've got these real good jobs. You know, you might have a relationship where both people are laid off and the leverage full tilt. And there's so many of these tech guys who have flooded the market. You know, there's going to be not enough jobs for them, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Leave me a comment if you are. I've been laid off. I'd love to, if you are open and sharing that, I'd love to find out a little bit more about your situation.
I lost my job this week. I went onto Zoom to have my usual one-on-one with my manager. When I hopped on, the first person I saw was head of HR. I work in a tech company, so most probably I was getting laid off. My role was made redundant, meaning that the company no longer needed my role or function in the organization. When I first heard the news, I kind of didn't know how to feel. For someone who was so career driven and who works really hard to keep a work ethic really strong, I felt like the rug was pulled from under my feet. Like, I had no way to prepare for this. And I think that unless you have been made redundant before, you just, like, nothing prepares you for this kind of like gut punching feeling. By the way, I'm absolutely okay. I've come to terms with it. I'm excited for what the future holds. In Australia, Fair Works allows you to have consultation periods where you can ask questions and see if there are any other roles that you can jump into at the company and things like that. So there are discussions, and so I made sure that I did my research. I seeked legal advice.
Yeah, and whatever country you're in, guys, if you are going through this process, as you're going through it, do a lot of research because they have laws, they have legislation that they have to follow, and if they don't, you know that you can get them in trouble for that, and you can come out better. You know, they owe you severance if you've been there for a while. I got made redundant in the UK, and I'd only worked there a year, so I actually wasn't entitled to anything. So, but I did a bit of research and I figured that out. So when they didn't give me anything, I had to go do the research. So yeah, every country's going to be different, but yeah, do your research, guys, and know your rights.
Fair Works and ask, you know, am I getting paid out in a fair way and things like that. Really just things to look at for myself. But nonetheless, I'm in a really happy position right now. I think this is the perfect time for me to take an R&R, and this trip has come almost just pretty much at like the perfect time for me to reset after I come back. Someone said on LinkedIn that this is just a minor setback for a huge comeback, and you know what, that shit just like lit me on fire, and I am super excited to come back and see what I can do. My manifestation board does have a photography studio on it, and that's just something that I've always wanted, so maybe this is the time for me to really focus on photography again because I've missed it so much. The good thing is I don't have to work for a while, so thanks Joseph for looking after me. I appreciate all the support that my surrounding friends and family have given me in the past week. It is a lot to process when you have really supportive friends and family in your life and colleagues, ex-colleagues that are just rooting for you. It's a really nice feeling to be able to go into the world and be like,
yeah, this girl Angela Pan, she's got a real good attitude, she's got a good energy about her. Yeah, getting made redundant, guys, it can make you or break you. I honestly think that sometimes, especially if you get a nice severance package, you can take the foot off the gas, have a week, reconnect, figure your stuff out in your life, come up with a plan over tack. Like this girl's saying that she's always wanted to do a bit of a photography studio. It sounds like she got a nice severance package. It might be enough to set her up for that, but this is why emergency funds are so important, guys, and having savings. So if you are laid off, you're not in a bad position, and then you can rebuild from there. Let's go on the next one.
You've been made redundant in a group. Even if you haven't worked at that company for more than 2 years, it's worth checking to see if you qualify for what's called a protective award. In the UK, employers who are looking to make more than 20 people redundant at any one time have to notify both those employees and the government in advance before those redundancies can actually happen. If the company is making up to 100 people redundant, they need to give 30 days notice to both the government and the employees, and if it's more than 100 employees, it needs to be 45 days notice. And this can't just be a straight notification that those jobs are definitely gone. The employer and the employee need to be able to work together during a consultation period to see if there is any way for those jobs to be saved. If employers don't follow any part of this process, that means that all of the employees who were in the redundancy, including employees who may have worked less than 2 years, would potentially qualify for the protective award. The protective award is on top of any statutory redundancy payment. It's essentially compensating you for the fact that your employer illegally did not consult you about the redundancy. If the company has gone insolvent, this award is paid by the government for 8 weeks of pay, capped at £571 per week currently. If the company isn't insolvent, then it is up to 90 days of pay at full pay for each employee. The way that employees can actually claim the protective award is for at least one person to raise a tribunal claim, including this protective award, and then to name everyone else who is made redundant at the same time. Anyone who is then listed would then be awarded the protective award along with the person who actually made the claim. If this applies to you and you need some help actually raising that claim, please do have a look at our profile. This is what we do all the time. We help people make tribunal claims when they can't afford to go down the traditional law firm route. And finally, remember, this applies to people who have worked less than 2 years. You could have been employed 1 day and the protective award would still apply to you. And this is in addition to any other compensation or notice period that your employer may have paid you. The protective award is specifically for the fact that the consultation was not held. Good luck.
Yeah, I didn't want to stop her there. She was cooking. Vala, shout out Vala. She was spitting facts. And this is what I mean, guys. If your company's going to lay you off, they have to go through procedures. And if they don't go through procedures, you can take them to a tribunal and you can sue them. So, yeah, really pay attention to the whole process. Don't just accept it and do your own research. Get in touch with people like this who do this day in, day out, and they'll know exactly how to help you.
Nicole Sire, a Google employee who had been showing off the lavish perks of working at the tech giant in her TikTok videos, was left in tears after she was caught up in a mass layoff. As a partner services program manager at Google, Nicole shared her daily life at the company, showcasing the free candy, games, catered lunches, coconut waters, Harry Potter
Yeah, leave me a comment in the in the comments, guys. What do you think about these tech perks that these? I've seen quite a lot of these videos where it's a day in the life of a Twitter employee or a day in the life of a Google employee, and it doesn't really look like a hard day's work. Yeah, let me know what you think about that in the comment, guys.
meeting rooms and massage chairs that were at her disposal. Her videos went viral and sparked debate online, with some criticizing the tech companies as adult daycare. But little did Nicole know that her dream job was about to come to an end. Google's parent company Alphabet recently announced that it would be cutting nearly 12,000 jobs worldwide, representing 6% of its 187,000-strong global workforce. Laid-off workers were reportedly informed by email, but in some cases, they only knew they had been fired once they arrived at work and their access badges were denied. For Nicole, it was a harsh wake-up call. In a video that has been viewed nearly 3 million times, she documented a day in my life getting laid off at Google. I woke up to this really ominous text from my boss. I rushed downstairs to find out that I had lost access to basically everything, she said tearfully. I called my boss back and we just sobbed over the phone. It just felt like a really bad game of Russian roulette. There was no consistency around who was let go. It was also not performance-based, so it just felt really random. Nicole, who had always dreamed of working at Google, was blindsided by the decision. I've always dreamed of working at Google, and feel grateful to have fulfilled that dream, she wrote on LinkedIn. I've certainly enjoyed every minute of being a Googler. As she reflects on her time at Google, Nicole's highlights include visiting 10 Google offices, presenting at conferences and universities, launching the Delivery Readiness Index with an amazing team and leading women at Irvine.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an AI person, but it's freaking me out. Yeah, when I started seeing these tech people do a day in my life vlogs, I thought it was a bad move by them because obviously their managers are going to see that. They're going to get some backlash from the people who are like, why are these people on six-figure salaries for this menial sort of, we do 2 meetings a day and we get all these free snacks. I thought it always, I personally, if that was my job, I'd be keeping that a secret. But yeah, let me know what you think on that one, guys. We'll do one more and then we'll get out of here.
Obviously, layoffs are never good for the employee, but over at LinkedIn, employees found their names on some weird list over the weekend, and by Monday, they found out they were the ones getting laid off. So I've never used this group ID tool that they use, but it almost sounds like in Teams how if you upload a file, like most people can access it. So one employee found one called October Update and noticed it had lists of hundreds of people. And I think what really makes it worse is they found out over the weekend, so they had to just sit around and wait and figure out what this list meant on Monday. Obviously, layoffs are never good for the employee.
Yeah, I saw LinkedIn was laying people off as well. Yeah, it's terrible. All these tech companies. I'll tell you what, we'll do one more and then we'll get out.
I think a lot of us need to hear this on an almost daily basis, but recruiters and hiring managers do not think less of you because you got laid off. And more than anyone else, they understand that layoffs are a business decision. The worst thing you can do is feel really embarrassed and shameful about your layoff and then project that onto the people who are trying to hire you. So I encourage you to process the negative emotions with this in a healthy way. Talk to a therapist, talk to a parent, talk to a friend or a partner or someone who know is going to be supportive and cheer you on. Journal about it, meditate it, whatever the heck you need to do. Hire a career coach or an interview coach and work through it with them. We need to get you on board with the fact that a layoff is not personal and it does not mean anything bad about you. So process those emotions and then find a way to frame it as a positive. Personally, for me, when I got laid off, it gave me the opportunity to finally pursue a career that I've always been dreaming of. Maybe for you, a layoff made you reconsider what's important in your work or the type of industry that you want to work in. And if not, just talk about what's exciting for you in the future. Let me know in the comments if you needed to hear this today.
Yeah, we'll leave it there, guys. I personally think there's going to be a lot more in 2024 coming up, maybe even all the way through to 2025. It'll be interesting if they reduce the interest rates like they're thinking about. That might buy the companies some time. But essentially, I think there's going to be a big wave coming. If you think that there's a layoff in your future, now's the time to really scale back your spending, save up as much as possible so you're prepared for the hard times that might be coming when you're trying to find a new job. That's the only real, I guess, advice I can give, scale things back. If you've got a personal story of a layoff or you've got some info about a layoff, leave it in the comments. This is a bit of a community page. I like to always hear what everyone's going through or been through, so we can, learn from it. So yeah, and I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Thanks. Bye.